Greetings. This is the last time I'm going to have to record this on this computer. I've gotten a new one. I think things are going to get better in the future, production-wise. We'll see what happens. I've got a computer coming this week, and so next week, if I can get them all switched over, we'll see what happens. We're doing chapter 23 this week, talking about Balaam. You know, he's an interesting character. He calls Yehovah by name. He calls Yehovah his Elohim. He understands that Yehovah is the Elohim. Look what it said here in 22, last week's chapter. Here it is. Let me close that. He has right here. Look. Here he is talking about in verse 28. He's talking about, lodge here tonight, and I will bring back word to you as Yehovah speaks to me. He knows Jehovah's name. And here it says, so Balaam said to, they put God, but it really says the Elohim. Ha-Elohim. He understands that Yehovah is Ha-Elohim, the lawmaker and judge. You know, we spent some time last week reading through this whole business about going with them. Remember, he said, should I go with and shall I go with them? He says, and Elohim said to Balaam, you shall not go with them. And the word he used was im, with im. And then he said, Yehovah refuses to give me permission to go with you. And he came back and told Balak that Balaam refuses to come with us. Every time they use this same word, im. But there was a time where Yehovah, here it is in this one, that then Balaam answered and said to the servants of Balak, though Balak were to give me a house full of silver and gold, I could not go beyond the word of Yehovah, my Elohim. There it is, Yehovah, my Elohim. And now here Yehovah says in verse 20, and Elohim came to Balaam at night and said to him, if the men come to call you, rise and go with them. There he used the same English word, but it's translated as this word, eighth. More like near them. Yeah, with them is an acceptable translation for this word, but it's not the same word that he was using all the other times. And then, remember, when he finally did leave, where is it? Yeah, the very next verse. So Balaam rose in the morning, saddled his donkey, and went with. But you didn't use that word, it used the im word again. There it is, im. Back and forth. You know, I wonder, why does Yehovah even have this in there? Go with them. Don't go with them. Go with them. Don't go with them. The last time he told him that you can go with them, what did he say? But only the word which I speak to you, that you shall do. So it had a caveat. But then he went im with them. It says in the very next verse, and Elohim's anger was aroused because he went. And the angel, Yehovah's angel, took his stand in his way as an adversary against him. Well, we saw what happened. 3 times the donkey stopped. Balaam, finally, Yehovah opened Balaam's eyes. It says, then Yehovah opened Balaam's eyes. Verse 31. And he saw Yehovah's angel, Yehovah's messenger. I think it may have been an angel. The donkey could see it. Balaam couldn't see it. But the significant thing, I think, that happened in this was this verse 22:32. And Yehovah's angel said to him, why have you struck your donkey these 3 times? Behold, I have come out to stand against you because why? Your way is perverse before me. You know, there's a lot of people who say they know the Lord. They don't even know his name. At least Balaam knows his name. He knows his ways. He just won't do his ways. But they say, we know Yehovah. We know the Lord. Like, again, they don't use his name. And who are they talking about? More places than not, they're talking about this character, the golden calf, Jesus, Yeshua. Which is more important, to practice Yehovah's ways or to talk about Yehovah's ways? So the last thing that we saw in this chapter was Balak taking Balaam, and they came to Kiryat Kazot. It says, then Balak offered. He didn't offer anything. He slaughtered oxen and sheep, and he sent some of the meat to Balaam and the princes. Don't get religious around me with these words. The word is zavik. He slaughtered them. They're using them for food. But look what it says next. So it was the next day, last verse, that Balak took Balaam and brought him up to the high places, more than one, of Baal. And that is the topic of this next chapter, what's happening at these high places of Baal. Sometimes it's called the high places of Beor. I wonder if Beor was the Baal of that particular area. Remember at one point we saw the word Kamesh. I think it was Kamesh. And I thought to myself, is that the local Elohim? Kind of like Tammuz. You know, depending on what part of the world we were in, they had their own Baals, Lord of that place. Was Peor, the Lord of that particular place, like Tammuz was the Lord of Egypt's place? Perhaps even like Yeshua, Jesus, is the Baal of the Americas and many other parts of the world. Remember, that was given to us by the Catholic Church as a universal religion. Oh, there's things coming out even now about what's going on in the Catholic Church and the archives that we have there that are going to expose a lot of the things that are happening. So here we are. We're going up to the places of Baal. That from there he might observe the extent of the people. Well, this particular word, extent, doesn't really mean extent. It seems to mean the edge or part of the whole of the people. But I think as he moves from place to place, mountain to mountain, we're going to see a greater portion of the people. look at the very first verse that we're going to talk about. Then Balaam said to Balak, build 7 altars for me here, and prepare for me here 7 bulls and 7 rams. 7. You know, I looked at that and I thought, why does it say 7? Why not 8, 6, 5, 10, 1? He's doing 7 rams on 7 altars. I talked to my pal, my AI, to look at some possibilities. Asking him, what's with these 7s? And he reminded me of several things. And I want to share those things with you. I tried to put these in my notes, but there's something about copying and pasting something that comes from an AI into my notes that's following up my eSword. And I can't afford to corrupt my eSword, so I'm going to share them right from here. Oh, where'd they go? Oh, I guess I got the wrong one here. Sorry. Put this pen back. Take this one here. There we go. All right. Here. First of all, it talks about creation. Creation was done in a 7-day period. Let me enlarge this. Here it is. It says in Genesis 1 and 2, Elohim creates the heaven and the earth in 6 days and rests on the 7th. This 7th day, the Sabbath, Shabbat, becomes an archetype of completion. And Elohim blessed the 7th day and sanctified it. He says, meaning, it says, the world is not truly finished until it rests in Elohim. The 7th day is a holy time aligned with the Creator's own rhythm. This is the first covenant rhythm of 7. Remember, I've said it many times in the past, 6-1, 6-1, 6-1, 6-1. Well, next, it talks about the weekly rhythm of the covenant, talking about the Sabbath. It repeats every week. 6 days you shall work. Human activity, that's the human activity. But the 1 day of rest is divine trust. We rest knowing that even though we're not progressing in what would seem a human activity to do things, Yehovah's got our back. He calls on 31:17 of Exodus. He says, the Sabbath is a sign between me and Israel's seed forever. 7 thus marks belonging. It is the seal of the covenant between Yehovah and his people. I can work with that. Then we have the Shemitah. Now, I've never heard this word Shemitah before, but it's the year of the release. Every 7 years, we're going to have a year of release. The year of release is the word Shemitah. There it is right there, Shemitah. 6 years, you shall sow your field. 6 years, you shall sow your field. But the 7th year, you shall let it rest. Even the land is going to get rest. This shows the extension of Sabbath from time to space. Interesting. They're expanding the Sabbath. Elohim rests, expands from day to an entire year, acknowledging his ownership of the land and his provision for his people. So in addition to the 7 days, now we're going to have 7 years. The next thing we're going to talk about is the Jubilee, the Sabbath of Sabbaths. After 7 cycles of 7 years, 7 times 7 is 49. The 49th year is also a 7th. It's a Sabbath, but then we're going to have the 50th year. It says, comes the 50th, comes the Jubilee in the 50th year. And look what Yehovah says. So you shall hallow the 50th year and proclaim liberty throughout the land. Slaves are free. Debts are forgiven. Land returns to its ancestral owners. It's like the whole place is being reset. I think that we're about to enter a reset. Politically, economically, maybe even spiritual reset. Moving people from a 3rd dimension to a 5th dimension. We'll see. Well, he talked about a 7 as a covenant marker. That was interesting, talking about the well of oaths between Amalek, the king of, I forget who he was the king of. God. Let's not even go there. Anyway, I wanted to finish with this. Spiritual meaning. 6 equals human effort, imperfection. 7 is divine fulfillment, rest, and shalom. To walk in 7s is to live in harmony with Elohim's cycle. That cycle, I believe, is very, very important to our Father in heaven. 7 days, 7 years, and then 7 times 7, the reset of 50 years. To walk in 7s is to live in harmony with Elohim's cycle, trusting that all wholeness and completion comes from him. This last thing, a 7 in Hebrew thought is a divine fingerprint on time, creation, and covenant. The rhythm by which Yehovah's people learn to rest in his wholeness. Oh, I know this is AI, but I see so much truth in what I'm reading here for you guys. Now, that said, going back to Balaam. Balaam knows Yehovah's ways. Don't kid yourself. His ancestors, Beor, the Assyrian. Then we had Balaam the first, who actually even worked with the king when Moses was young, tried twice to get Moses killed. He predicted at Moses' birth, or a dream. Was it a dream that he had? Yeah, it was a dream that Pharaoh had, that somebody was going to be born that was going to change everything and take power away from him. Another time, so then he tried to kill Moses, and that's when we started throwing children into the river at a certain time. Then, when Moses was 3, Moses plucked the crown off of Pharaoh's head, and it was Balaam, the first, who tried to get Moses killed for doing that. Then we had his descendants who also knew Israel's ways. They all know Israel. It's like they're arch enemies. Good versus evil. Truth versus lies. It's kind of where we're at even now. Jambres and his brother, Jambres, and I forget what the other guy's name was, but they were the magicians that Moses was dealing with. Moses threw his stick on the ground. They threw their stick on the ground. Those were them. Then we had the next lineage. That was Peor. Oh, I get so confused with these things. Balaam, Peor. I think it's Peor. Beor. It's Beor. So that was Beor and Balaam, his son, that the Amalekites brought down to curse Moab, which is why we got Balaam this last week being recommended by the Midianites because they remember. So Balaam was supposed to come and curse them, but this is what this is all about. But 7 altars shows me that Balaam knows that 7 is important to Yehovah. And to do 7 altars with a ram and a bull on all altars is kind of like he's trying to use the truth. But remember, his ways are perverse. He's on the mountains of Baal, trying to get in touch with Elohim. Elohim's going to meet him. We're going to see the word meet, what that means. But this is what Balaam is all about. Mixing truth with lies to get the things that he wants to have happen. It's kind of like a secret formula. He knows the outward ways, but his heart isn't there. And I think that's where most people are. Talk is cheap. Are we going to follow Yehovah, or are we just going to honor him with our mouth? Draw nigh unto him with our lips, as the scriptures say. But their heart was far from me. Next verse, it says, and Balak did just as Balaam had spoken. And Balak and Balaam, look what they said, offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Now, the word offered, look, when you see that word, you guys, look it up. Take the energy to look it up. You're probably going to find it doesn't mean that. We just saw one that it was slaughtered. They were going to eat it. This one says brought up. This is the word that they use right there. Allah, ascend. What are they talking about? We're talking about a burnt offering. These bulls and rams were sent up, brought up as a sweet aroma to Yehovah on the mountain of Baal. Of course. Is there something wrong with this picture? And why are they doing it? Because they want to get Balaam to curse Israel. Israel's blessed. He can't do that. He already told them, I can't curse what Yehovah is blessed. He's going to say it again. So now Balaam says to Balak, stand by your Olah. So there it is. It's an olah that he did. They say burnt offering. People don't even know what a burnt offering is. It's an olah, something that's going up to Yehovah. The whole animal is burned, except perhaps the skin. And I will go. Perhaps Yehovah, there he is using Yehovah's name, will come to meet me. And whatever he shows me, I will tell you. So he went up to the desolate heights. This word meet me, come to meet me, is this word. Let me get that. Whoops. Is this word right here. Kira. Encountering. Seems to be a word that is used with the idea of divination and encountering. On the desolate heights, the bare heights, high at the top of the mountain, there's no trees, just bare heights. That's where he's meeting him. So here's this word, chance upon or an encountering. This is a term used in divination. That's what I just said. Here it is being used in Numbers 24. Now, when Balaam saw that it displeased Yehovah to bless Israel, he did not go as at other times to seek to use sorcery. Seek to use sorcery is the same word being used here. Kira. But he set his face towards the wilderness. He's leaving. He's going. He's going to leave, it sounds like. Now, verse 4. And Elohim met Balaam. Here it is, the words. And Elohim came to Balaam. Kara. It's the same word used a little bit differently. Yehovah came to Balaam. And he said to him, I have prepared 7 altars. And I have offered on each altar a bull and a ram. Aren't I good? I'm doing the formula. Don't you know? Perhaps you can help me, Yehovah. Then Yehovah put a word in Balaam's mouth and said, return to Balak. Oh, I should turn on these things. That'll make it. Oh, no, I guess they were on. Return to Balak, and thus you shall speak. Verse 6. So he returned to him, and there he was standing by his olah. There's no word for offering there. It's just olah. And he and all the princes of Moab. And he took up his oracle and said, Balak, the king of Moab, has brought me from Aram, from the mountains of the east. Come, curse Jacob for me, and come and denounce Israel. I think it's interesting that he says it the way he does. Jacob and Israel. Jacob are men of the flesh of Jacob. You could call Jacob B'nai Jacob. B'nai Jacob. Those are the men who came from Jacob. But then we have Israel, B'nai Israel. Those are the spiritually born men. And they're not necessarily from Jacob. They can be anybody. Spiritually born. Are there 2 kinds of people in the camp right now? Seed of Jacob and seed of Israel? I wonder. come curse Jacob for me and come denounce Israel. But he says, how shall I curse whom Elohim has not cursed? And how shall I denounce whom Yehovah has not denounced? He's still using Yehovah's name. From the top of the rocks, I see him. And from the hills, I behold him. Who's him? Israel. There, a people dwelling alone. Hear that? Not reckoning itself among the nations. Oh, this is poetry to my ears. Israel is a people who dwells alone under Yehovah's tent. Ohel. Remember, Ohel is tent. The tent of Ohel. The whole earth is supposed to be the tent of Ohel. Under the tent of Ohel, anyway. A people dwelling alone, not reckoning itself among the nations. They don't call themselves Americans. They don't call themselves U.S. citizens, Egyptians, Romans, Spaniards. They call themselves Israel. And they have only one Elohim, one lawmaker and judge. They don't serve anybody else. He goes on. I wonder. Look, there's a quote there, quotation mark at 8. How shall I curse whom Yehovah is not cursed? And denounce. This is still what Yehovah, the words that Yehovah is giving to Balaam. But rather than close that quote that we see in 8, now there's a new quote. Who can count the dust of Jacob or number 1/4 of Israel? Oh my gosh, look at what this says, you guys. This is so important. Who can count the dust of Jacob or number 1/4 of Israel? Look what he says. Let me die the death of the righteous. Does Balaam understand that the righteous are going to be raised in the latter days? Oh, we've had many places where we read this sort of thing. I wonder what I have in here. Oh, it was Beor and Balaam. No, that's not what. Those aren't the things I was looking for. Maybe they're here. Oh, there was a long time that I thought that the 144,000, there was going to be 144,000. There's not going to be, I don't think, 144,000. I think we're talking about Israel is going to be raised up, all Israel. We can't count their dust. Remember, the seed or as the stars of heaven or as the sands of the sea. Let me die the death of the righteous. Why does he want to die the death of the righteous? Because he knows the righteous are going to be raised up. And let my end be like his. See, most people think we're going to die, and that's it. Of course, a lot of people are going with reincarnation these days and doing things like that, but we're talking about being raised up again. I'm not going to go through all the things, but 55, verse 5, Isaiah 26, like around 30 or 31, I think. It talks about let my, oh gosh. All right, I'll go to it. Let's go to Isaiah. Isaiah 26. Here it is. Yeah. Your dead shall live. Together with my dead body, they shall arise. Let my death be like the righteous. Awake and sing, you who dwell in the dust. Your dew is like the herbs. Here's the 50-50 of Psalms. Gather together my saints, like a seed. My kind is literally what it's saying. Those who cut covenant with me by slaughter, that's Israel. They celebrated a real Passover. They are the ones who are living a righteous life, and they're going to be reborn. He's gathering them right there. Read it in context of Psalms chapter 50. Going back. Not reckon itself among the nations. Let my death be like the righteous, and let my end be like his. Yes, he wants to be raised also. This book is, I'm reading right here, this book is all about counting Israel. But in reality, who can count the spiritual people of Israel? They are like the sands of the sea and the stars of the heaven. Yeah, they're dead, but they're coming back. These are good men, righteous men that are going to return to the earth. Listen to this. Balaam says that he wants to have his end, wants to have the end result of a righteous life. Sadly, he will never repent from his perverse ways and join himself to Yehovah's people. Teshuvah, we have to repent. We have to turn to Yehovah and to his ways. We leave the kingdom of our birth and join ourselves to his people, to him and his people. Well, it says then, Balak said to Balaam, what have you done to me? I took you to curse my enemies, and look, you have blessed them bountifully. So he answered and said, must I not take heed to speak what Yehovah has put in my mouth? Sounds like Balaam is committed to speaking what Yehovah says. Then Balak said to him, please come with me to another place from which you may see. You shall see only the outer part of them, and shall not see all of them. Curse them for me from there. So now they're going, so he brought him up to the field of Zophim, to the top of Pisgah. To the top of Pisgah. You know what? I should open my map. I apologize for not opening it ahead of time. Let me open my map, because I want you to see where this is. It will only take a short moment. I have to open it, then I have to open a specific map in it. But it doesn't take but a second. On my new computer, it would be very fast. We're going to go from here, open my new map. There it is here. And here we are. I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me zoom into 200. He's taken him to this part of the world. Israel is here. This plateau, or this what should I say? It's a kind of a smoother place along the river here. Beth Ya'alel. Kimot, Abel Shittim. But here we are, Pishka, Nebo, Peor. I think we were on Nebo, and now we're going to Pishka. You can see Israel. Later, we're going to go to Mount Peor. Let's see what it says. To the top of Pishka, and built 7 altars, and brought up a bull and a ram on each altar. We already know the code there. Brought up. And he said to Balak, stand here by your Olah. Exactly what he did before. Well, I meet, again, that same word. See, note in verse 3. I meet Yehovah over there. Then Yehovah met. There it is. It's a form of it. Kara. See how they're very similar. They have the same root words. Kara. Meeting, event. The pictograph, Kaf, is a picture of a sun on a horizon and the gathering of the light, and the Resh is a picture of a head of a man combined and mean gather the men. I'm going to meet with Yehovah. Then Yehovah met Balaam and put a word in his mouth and said, go back to Balak, and thus you shall speak. So he came to him, and there he was standing by his Olah, where I told him to go, and the princes of Moab were with him. And Balak said to him, what has Yehovah spoken? Listen, even Balak is using Yehovah's name. Isn't that interesting? Are we going to see? Do you remember when Elijah met at the high place? They built an altar to another Elohim. And the priests were supposed to get their Elohim to, here, I can look it up easy. I know exactly where it's at. Carmel, on Mount Carmel. Do you remember that? Are we going to see that again? Is there going to be a man that Yehovah is going to raise up in the last days? It's going to be like a Moses. I wonder. Scripture seems to talk about that. Of course, we all want to make it about Jesus. Ridiculous. Just don't know the scriptures. But I wonder if we're going to see something like that again. What got me talking about that? Handing my burnt offering. I guess what made me think about that is there's somebody who's going to bring back words for the people. Kind of like they're going to try and use, I could see them using, in Jesus' name, bring down water to crush this fire on the altar. And somebody else is going to raise up on that day and do exactly the same thing. And Yehovah is going to eat it up. Oh no, it was to burn up the water in the altar. That's what it was. They soaked their altars. Oh no, Elijah soaked his altar. The other ones didn't soak their altar, but they still couldn't get fire to come down from heaven and burn it up. And Elijah did it. Are we going to see that in the future? I wonder. Well, sorry for the hiatus, but these are things that really interest me. And he came to him, and there he was standing by his Olah. And the princes of Moab were with him. And Balak said to him, "What has Yehovah spoken?" No, I guess that's what made me think about it, is he knows Yehovah's name. Is there going to come a time in the world where they're going to know Yehovah's name? They're still not going to follow him? What has Yehovah spoken? And he took up his oracle, verse 18. Rise up, Balak, and hear. Listen to me, son of Zippor. Elohim is not a man. Hear that? Elohim is not a man. An Ish. He didn't even say Adam. Remember, we've got Ish in Israel, and Adam are essentially the mortal men of the earth. A spiritual man is called an Ish. But Yehovah is not an Ish, that he should lie. Oh, or a son of Adam. There it is, son of Adam. Ben Adam. Or a Ben Adam. Or a son of Adam. That he should repent. Has he said, and he will not do? Or has he spoken, and he will not make it good? Oh, this is what I tell you all the time. What Yehovah says, he does. I think that's what Yehovah's name essentially means. What I say, I will do. This first came to my attention many, many years ago when I was reading Ezekiel 37:14. Then you shall know that I, puts his name before and after it, have spoken it and performed it, says Yehovah. Elohim is not a man. Oh, but don't you know Jesus was God made flesh? Oh, we have so much to learn. Behold, what am I, do I have any other notes here? No. Behold, I have received a command to bless. He has blessed. I cannot reverse it. He has not observed iniquity in Jacob, nor seen wickedness in Israel. There's those two babes, Jacob and Israel together again. And Yehovah, his Elohim, is with him. And it says, and the shout of a king is among them. Here's what it actually says. And shouts that Yehovah is king. Perverseness here, let me read it in the way I translated it here is using the words that it actually has. He has not beheld iniquity in Jacob, nor seen perverseness in Israel. Yehovah, his Elohim, is with him, and he shouts that he, Yehovah, is king. Shouts. The word they use there is taruah, a great shout. I think this is an appropriate verse. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You know, we have been so lied to about what faith is. We are to love Yehovah with all our heart, lavav, with all our soul, nefesh, and with all our strength, me'od. Me'od is a really interesting word. I talk about it in Loving God 101. in my Torah 101 series, the start of that series. You should listen to that video. But me'od is actions done in accordance with Yehovah's statutes, judgments, and ordinances. If you're not following Yehovah's ways and you think you're acting in faith, you're not. If you're obeying the laws of the land and somehow think that you're acting in faith of Yehovah, you've been tricked. You've been fooled. Because it's not faith unless we're following Yehovah's statutes, judgments, and ordinances. Faith is doing the things that are commanded in an invisible world, if it will, by an invisible Elohim. A spiritual Elohim. Isn't that what Elohim is? He's Spirit Elohim. We're going to see that today or next week even. Spirit Elohim. And Spirit Elohim was over the face of the earth. We're following the commandments, the statutes, the judgments, and the ordinances of Spirit Elohim, because we are spiritual men living in the world, giving Yehovah's statutes and judgments and ordinances and his kingdom substance by the very things that we do. We are a witness to the world. Balaam, on the other hand, has perverse ways. He did see iniquity and wickedness in Balaam. Because your ways are perverse before me, is what Yehovah told the angel to say, or spoke through the angel, if you will. God brings them out of Egypt. He's still giving his word. He has strength like an ox. Ooh, an ox is strong, especially when he's eating up the grass of the earth. Nobody to defend him. The grass just gets eaten, doesn't it? What do I have here? 23, here's 24. God brings him out of Egypt. He gives him strength like a wild ox. That's what we just read here. He shall consume the nations, his enemies. He shall break their bones and pierce them with arrows. That's what he's talking about right in this particular verse. Gives him strength like a wild ox. Moab, last week, said this about him. So Moab said to the elders of Midian, now this company will lick up everything around us, as an ox licks up grass of the field. Nobody can defend themselves. Grass can't defend itself. And Balak, the son of Zippor, was king of the Moabites in those days. I put what defense does grass have against an ox? None whatsoever. We saw in Yasher that the 10 sons of Israel, Jacob, fighting the cities of the Amorites, the 6 cities of the Amorites, didn't lose any sons, lost a couple servants, but they cleaned the clock of these cities. They couldn't stand against them. Is that what it's going to be in the last days? I think so. Read Joel chapter 2. Sure sounds a lot like what was going on here in Yasher. For there is no sorcery against Jacob, nor any divination against Israel. It now must be said of Jacob and of Israel, oh, what Elohim has done. He says, he's still going. Look, a people rises like a lioness and lifts itself up like a lion. It shall not lie down until it devours its prey and drinks the blood of the slain. Israel is like a lion lying down, just watching, ready to take the prey. Then Balak said to Balaam, neither curse them at all, nor bless them at all. He's really getting frustrated. So Balaam answered and said to Balak, did I not tell you, saying, all that Yehovah speaks I must do? And Balak said to Balaam, please come. I will take you to another place. Perhaps it will please who? Elohim, the Elohim, that you may curse them for me from there. We're going to go to the next place. Look where they're going. The top of Mount Peor. Did I tell you where they were? Here it is. Nebu, Pisgah. Now we're going to Peor. The top of Peor, Baal Peor. I think Peor was the name of that particular Baal, kind of like Jesus is to us, kind of like Tammuz was to the Egyptians. Foreign Elohim. He knows that Yehovah is the Elohim. Perhaps it will please the Elohim that you may curse them for me from there. Like a location is going to make a difference. So Balak took Balaam to the top of Peor that overlooks the wasteland. Why is it called the wasteland? Because 4 years before, the Amorite king, I forget his name right offhand, came and took most of Moab's lands. I think he did it so that we could take those lands from the king. It's a wasteland. He made a wasteland out of it. And we made a wasteland out of it as well when we took it from him. What was that king's name? That's really going to bother me. I think it's in 21. We'll come back to this. When there's something like this that comes up, I can't not look it up, because if you look it up, you'll learn and remember it. Sihon. There it is right there. Sihon, king of the Amorites. That's what I wanted to see. Yeah, it's a wasteland. We took it from Sihon. He already destroyed it, and then rebuilt it, and then we took it again. We destroyed it this time. It's a wasteland. Here we are, 28. So Balak took Balaam to the top of Peor that overlooks the wasteland. Oh, I bet I even had it in here. Yeah. The wasteland is former Moab, former Sihonville. Yeah, there it is, Sihon, King Sihon. After Israel went through it. That's why it's a wasteland. We destroyed the area. We took it for ourselves. And from Bamot, in the valley that was in the country of Moab, to the top of Pisgah, which looks down on the wasteland. There's 21, again, looking down on the wasteland. There we are, overlooks the wasteland. A couple more verses. Then Balaam said to Balak, build for me here 7 altars, and prepare for me here 7 bulls and 7 rams. And Balak did as Balaam said to him, and brought up. That's the word, brought up. There it is. Allah, brought up. Sweet aroma to Yehovah, a bull and a ram on every altar. Well, we're going to stop here, pick it up in 24. Tomorrow's going to be the end chapter for Balaam. But Balaam is, he couldn't curse Israel. He couldn't Now, he couldn't curse Israel, but he gave a way for them to cause Israel to falter. He knows Yehovah's ways. And he suggested something that they should do to cause Israel, us, I'm Israel, or cause Elohim to find disfavor with Israel. He's going to cause us to do things that, remember he said he found no, what was the word he said here? I love this. No. Oh, I'm not going to be able to find it. Oh, here it is. He found no iniquity nor wickedness in Israel. Balaam eventually is going to tell Midian, and probably Moab also, they're working together, how to get Israel to sin and commit wickedness against Yehovah. It's not going to defeat them, but we're going to lose some men as a result of it. It's an interesting story. This whole business about Balaam, it's really an interesting story. And his family line, how they have fought with us. Yeah, through the ages. Many years, hundreds of years. Well, a couple hundred years anyway. Yeah. Well, we're going to stop here. You guys, thank you for listening. Next week, I'm going to be on another computer. Yay. We'll see if I can get it working. I hate to be on this computer again. I have so much problems with this computer. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you can share it with somebody, please share it. I know I'm not the easiest person to listen to. There's a lot of false images in our lives that we have got to overcome. And I don't mix words. I see what Yehovah's word says, and I'm going to present it that way. But please, if you find a kindred spirit that loves truth, that loves Yehovah and wants to know more how to serve him, whether he be a male or she be a female, you know, Yehovah has different duties and responsibilities for a man on the earth than he does for a woman on the earth. We got to learn our duties and responsibilities if we hope to be numbered among Israel and have the same end that Israel's going to have. Well, I'll stop here. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.